Testing, testing, I want to hear my voice. Make sure it's all okay. That should be good. Okie dokie. 20 hours on this game. Woo. Okay. So, as you'll see, there are many paths to go about playing this game. Let me know how this sounds. That should be mine. That's wrong. That? Oh god, I broke it. Right. I must have broken it. I can't tab out. Oh, fuck. Something's happening. The fuck? Control Alt Delete. Aha! That should be better. Alright. Yeah, it's still doing its thing. I have to do this again. Fuck. I must kill it. I must kill it. Okay, it's dead. Let's try that again. Fuck, is it gonna like crash? Damn. Yeah. Really fucked up. God damn it. Okay. It does not help. Oh, that will. That will help. Autoconfig. Am I a wizard? I'm not a wizard. Didn't work. That was James, by the way, that messaged me. Fuck me. Yeah, that's James. What if I do windowed? That'll help. Might just have to fucking. Aha! I am wizard. Okay. This is fucking awful. No, god damn it, that's fuck, whatever. This is fine. Okay. You're gonna need subtitles because of the narrator. So this explains it. Not really, just a little mindfuck, obviously. So, can you hear the can you hear everything okay? That's the most important thing. The audio of the game, I'll turn my settings up then as soon as this loads.
This is the story of a man.
Hold on. So it's most important that you can hear the narrator.
This is the story of a man.
Hold on. Okay, yeah. It sounded kind of echoey. That was weird. And it's also, that's weird.
This is the story of a man.
Hold on. Whatever. It's whatever, man. It's gonna look like shit, but whatever. What just happened? I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Haha. It's breaking everything. Fuck stamp. Aha. Okay. I am of the shooting myself. You know? Okay. Dun 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 dun. Okay. You should be able to hear everything. Should sound good. The video will be a little fucked up. That is okay. We are making sacrifices. I have a really dirty quarter on my desk. God damn. Oh, that's just rust. Kind of cool looking. Makes what can I think of his fucking name? George Washington looked like a fucking zombie. $quarter. 1996. Okay. Sounds like a bad game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright, this is the Stanley Parable. So I'm just gonna not say too much and let you sort of listen, observe, and see what is going on. I am, however, going to turn... these on high. This might take a minute, but my computer can definitely run this game on high. If it can, I will be butt mad. I shouldn't have done this. This is going to take a while. How are you? How's it going? Nope. This what? Third, fifth time? Right. We can skip that intro though. It will take a long time to load. How fucking unfortunate.
This is the story.
Skip. And we're back. So, basically, there's a lot of shit to do. Not really
All
though.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
The game starts in the same
Stanley
way pretty
decided
much
to
every
go to
time.
the meeting room. Perhaps
There's
he had
many
something to
routes to take in this game. A lot. They're all very unique and have their own sort of intertwining stories or that are completely wacky in different ways. But this is our first sort of choice that we get to make. And I'm just gonna do what he says for
When
now.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You know, you could take the right door, you could take the left door. Different things happen based on which door you take and other choices you make.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Yeah.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Alright, there's more funny one-liners here, but we're just gonna continue.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I'm just gonna do what he says for now.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
It's in the same engine, this game and Portal. And, yeah, I guess I liked it for the same sort of reason, maybe. It's got that sort of weird feel. And less Portal guns. I'm hungry. There's no food to eat, though. Wait. Yeah, I was right. There's no food.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Mind Control Facility. Mind Control Facility. It's kind of ironic, isn't it?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Cause we're gonna do what he says for now, and then we'll do the other endings later. There's lots to explore.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly
I love
blind
this
to
narrator.
the
This guy's
world?
voice is great.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Now, there's so many like choices and shit that you can make. We won't get to them all, but we're just gonna do the. I'll show you the very first ending. You know. What's happening? Okay, I thought it crashed or something.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley
No, it's
stepped
genuine.
through the open door.
Not exactly fake. Just one of the endings.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Ta-da! Ending number 1. The end is never the end, is never the end, is loading. Cinnamon. are again. Same sort of thing.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So now we're going to do exactly the opposite of everything he tells us to. And you might notice this is different. Yes, it is. It's strange.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Spooky.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
So I wish I jumped onto that rail. So now you can.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
So
She's been waiting.
the narrator really has like a different sort of personality every run you do. It's kind of interesting.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack."
My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack. Okay, I'm done now. I did it.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
It's kind of creepy. Please, I'm begging you, stop.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality. Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Just kidding.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
No. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever.
Everything is
reliving
okay.
its impossibility forever. Oh, I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What happens if I'm gonna save it here. Okay.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Is behaving. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I feel like I'm gonna be jump scared. It's kind of creepy. Okay, game, you got me. Let's get on with it. What's happening? Okay. Guess that was the ending, maybe. So we try again. I want you to make the decisions now. You tell me where to go, what to do. Because I've already seen it all, but I want you to experience it a little. So, left or right door?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Actually,
perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he
I
couldn't
want
find a
to
trace of his co-workers.
show you a little secret. How did you get to it? Maybe it's in the next room. Never mind. I was wrong. That's weird. So, left or right door?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Left or
entered the
right?
door on his left.
You tell me. Who's that? I want to know who this is. It's weird. Don't remember ever meeting that guy.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
So,
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
up the stairs or
decided
down
to
the
go
stairs?
up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
now. Ooh, this ending. Alright. This
But
is kind of
Stanley
spooky.
just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, one sec. Sorry about that. I had to, my dad just called me, told me he had those posters I bought in my, toothbrush and shit.
describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
It's just so meta.
He thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams. The truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy.
Why would you laugh at that? You have a weird sense of
Everyone
humor.
knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
No. You'll notice something very odd right off the
I can't wait
bat.
to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
So yeah, this is just an odd little thing. Papers everywhere.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his
I'm
left.
just gonna text you this beforehand. Just so you can right door.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Fuck. Alright, should I go to the left door or the
Wow. Yes,
just go forward?
This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Wait, left door. Okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Okay, so do I go here or down this lift? Up to you. Through there or down the lift. There, down the lift. There, down the lift. There or down the lift. You're gonna say down the lift, right? You're gonna say it. You're gonna say it. No, you're gonna say. Wait, what? What? Why? I can't go back this way, can I? This is just the normal storyline, you realize.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling
Okay.
a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might
Up or
find
down?
an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
This is the exact same thing. Remy! Silly head. Baka. Dummy. Oh, there's more rooms in here. That's weird. Alright, should I try to go to the elevator or go through there? I know I can do the elevator, I think. Yeah, elevator or through there? Elevator or to the keypad thing through that big door? This. Elevator. Does it matter which one I press? I don't know. This is a long elevator ride. I feel like that's the narrator singing. This elevator about as long as my dick, yo. Okay, that's enough. I want off. Okay, because I'm supposed to. Can we be done? Jesus fucking. Alright, I'm just gonna fucking start again and then. Go the exact same way. Wait, what the fuck?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
at the left door. Well, I'm just gonna go to the normal thing, and shut up.
Yes, there was not a single person here either.
I'm gonna go back to where you told me to go.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office,
There's not much
Stanley
else.
was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings,
All right.
desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay
2845.
buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Okay, I have to go eat. I'm a hungry boy. So I'll be back.